So when you start teaching your young one about a bow hold, I find that it's often useful to start with a ball or something similar like this because it mimics the basic shape the hand takes when grasping anything. Whether it's a bow or a door handle or anything like that, our hand naturally curves around, and that's the shape that you want your young one's hand to do. If it's a small enough ball, what I tell the children to do is to wrap their fingers around the ball and to lift like so. We don't grab it, we don't grasp and squeeze, which is a very common mistake with the bow. You never grab and you never squeeze, which is why I don't really like the term bow grip, because it brings these images to mind of a hand that's grasping and really clenching, and you can see the muscles are really working really hard in the forearm when you do that, and that leads to tightness and difficulty playing and all kinds of bad things that we want just no part of. So that's why I oftentimes use a small ball like this to teach the basic shape of the hand and the shape of the fingers. Now, when it comes to the actual bow itself, you as the parent should hold on to the bow for your child so that they can construct their bow hand without worrying about, oh, I dropped the bow, like that. So you hold the bow like this. Never touch the hair on the bow, because the oils on our skins will make the bow resistant to the rosin and it'll make it sound bad. So just never touch the bow hair. Instead, you hold it by the stick, like this. You hold it like this in front of your young one and have them reach out. There are two ways to do this. Either you can tell them to just flop their hand over top of the bow, or you can tell them to start back here, wiggle their fingers, and then zoom in for a landing with all of the fingers going all the way over the stick, except for the pinky, which lands right on the screw there. There are two very important fingers when it comes to the bow. The pinky is the one, the thumb is the other. The other three fingers basically don't really have all that much to do. And one thing that I do to teach the kids how to do the bow is to properly let the weight sit is take one finger off, take two fingers off, take three fingers off. Can you do it? It's kind of difficult. And it gets harder across the fingers for little kids. So be patient and encourage them to keep trying. You'll often see professionals with their thumbs in here. That's the proper bow hold, but for tiny, tiny hands, it's sometimes difficult to maintain. So I usually teach little kids to put the thumb on the outside of the frog like this, because it's easier for their hand to make that rounded shape like that. But again, the important thing, whether you come from back here and slide the fingers over top like that, or whether you start by just flopping on top like that, the important thing is that the hand is lazy, lazy, lazy. We don't grab, we don't grasp like that. It's a very easy thing. Playing the violin is an easy thing, physically speaking. You shouldn't really have to try very hard to play the violin, to actually get a sound. It's really hard to practice, and it takes a lot of dedication to play really, really well. But in terms of the actual physics involved in playing the instrument, you shouldn't really have to try very hard. So, two common things that you see in a bow hand frequently. The first is this. When the hand is straight up in the air, you can see that this results in a bend in the wrist, which is bad. It makes the bow very difficult to control. And the other thing that you see is a lot of pronating, where the hand leans forward like this. And these problems are connected. The fingers, you notice, are very, very close together. So you want to encourage your little one to spread their fingers out like this and have a low center of gravity with their hand. And this is very, very important because it's a tone production problem. If you grab and you pronate, you tend to get a very pressing sound. But if you instead have this low, balanced bow hand with the power of the hand going all the way through the middle of the hand rather than through the index finger or leaning this way and that, you instead get a naturally ringing sound. So, to recap, the pinky perches on top, the thumb stays underneath, the hand is balanced, the fingers are spread out, and the hand does not grab or clutch. You can again try to remove the fingers one by one until it's just the pinky and the thumb controlling actions. Oh, and one last thing. I tell my kids that I can always tell whether the bow hand is healthy or not by whether or not I can count their knuckles. If you can see every single one of your child's knuckles, count every single knuckle, make a little game of it, whatever, then that's how you know that their hand is very healthy. If instead you see this, or even this, where one of the fingers is straight, or they're all stressed out, or whatever, if it's flat like this, that's a bad bow hand. You want it to be balanced, low to the bow, see all of the fingers, just like that.